The Call of Cthulhu by H.P. Lovecraft. For beginning readers. The most merciful thing in the world is, I think, that the mind is unable to know and to link our irrelevance to the wide universe and the cosmic truth, which is by far worse. Theosophists recount strange philosophy, I thought, until the truth was revealed to me. In the winter of late 26 things began, when my uncle George Andrew met a nautical man. Later that day he farewelled his life, and the doctor's prognosis was tempered with strife. When they could not explain where death had its start, eventually they blamed it all on his heart. Going through my late uncle's papers one day, I found a strange bas-relief made out of clay, with a strange-looking figure carved out above, strange hieroglyphics I could not conceive of. The piece had been made by the sculptor Wilcox, who had sat the thing on cyclopean blocks, on the night when the dreams turned to horror and pain, in the restless sleep of the weird and insane. In the month of March 25 it occurred, amongst other ills which you might have heard. Wilcox asked Professor Andrew to explain the visions of Rillier assaulting his brain. Recalling the past, his research did begin when he heard the phrase Cthulhu Fatah. He kept the records of unsettling tumult inside a file marked with Cthulhu Cult. So Angel asked Wilcox to record his dreams, and all throughout March he did then, that it seems. But he fell unconscious on March 23rd, till April 2nd, then no more was offered. I reasoned that Wilcox's hose was exposed, and thus it appeared the strange case closed. I believed Angel's research met an impasse. I have not yet read of Inspector Legrasse. Why Angel believed the dreams of Cthulhu became obvious when I read through File 2. He had an account of an earlier date he'd investigated since 1908. The Archaeological Society was having a meeting down in Missouri, when in walked Legrasse with a stone statuette with questions from experts. Legrasse was beset. None of the members who were there assembled could think of a thing that the thing there resembled, except for Webb, who went exploring Greenland, and there seen a similar idol firsthand. It was 1860, and out in the snow, Professor Webb met with some fell Eskimo. Phonetically, he copied down their mad chanting. It turned out Legrasse heard a similar ranting. The Inspector Legrasse had uncovered the meaning. In his house at Rillier, dead Cthulhu lies dreaming. With these few words, he unhid what was hidden and opened the door to a thing long forbidden. Way down in the swamps of the deep and dark south, a rumor was murmuring by word of mouth that women and children a cult had been stealing. Police then decided the truth needed revealing. When 20 men went, the dark ventured bravely. Not one man laughed, no, they all ventured gravely, as tom-toms beat distant in dark haunted wood. Lagoon country legend chilled them where they stood. The paths that explorers had refused to take leapt into a swamp, then out to a lake, in which lives a formless and polypous sight that devils worship at the stroke of midnight. The officers spotted an ominous glare Still none had imagined what would be found there. On pushing through branches and into a glade, they encountered twisted madness on parade. They found it was too late to save the kidnapped. On seeing this sight, some policemen had snapped. Regaining their senses, they charged them ahead. Some men were arrested and some were shot dead. When the grass got his captives back into the town, some had mentioned great old ones that live underground. They arrived here on Earth when the stars were just right, falling out of the sky, coming in from the night. Most convicts kept silent, their secrets their own, for some parts of their fate were for their ears alone. A mestizo named Castro had told them the most of undying Chinese and ancients off the coast. Great Cthulhu had led them from some outer place when the great old ones traveled across outer space. From time as some humans they physically screamed, up until Rillier sank. Now they wait there and they dream. In the Necronomicon, though easy to miss, the mad Arab Al-Zared had referenced this, writing, "That is not dead, which can eternally lie, and with strange aeons, even death may yet die." Of the statements from Castro, one should be most feared. When the stars in the night sky have rightly appeared, when the old ones are able to rise once again, but the cultists alone are the ones who know when. All their insights are secret, so none understand. They will murder for chaos across distant lands. They'll awaken the great ones with foul arcane prayers, who will then spill from below while our sanity tears. The grass's tail closed, not with answers but questions. To keep up the silence was someone's suggestion, and its secret the men there could not correspond. I convinced myself Angel still might have been conned. I held on at that time to some feelings of doubt. I still wondered if Wilcox had found out about the professor's strange research and contracts worldwide. After visiting him, I was sure he'd not lied. Although Castro had died shortly after his trial, I had managed to stop with Legras for a while. With occultists and idol, he still was obsessed. When I saw it, I likewise became possessed. I imagined that I'd receive grandeur and fame for revealing religions that had gone unnamed, but with little to go on, I put it aside, till a foreign newspaper by chance I espied. The old paper recounted the Emma's travails. She returned to some storms when from Auckland she sailed. They had then met a ship which had ordered them back when the crew had refused. The Alert had attacked. Though Emma was sunk, still her crew won the battle. Then they sailed into something that left the men rattled. Just Johansson returned from the turbulent sea, with idol in hand quite mysteriously. And the part of it all that most piqued my attention, and is to this day beyond my comprehension, all the sailors had witnessed at that exact time that young Wilcox's nightmares invaded my mind. So I went to the Dunedin, Sydney, then Norway, to meet with Johansson and hear what he'd say, but poor Johansson's widow met me there at the door. Poor Johansson had died just a few months before. Then Johansson's widow gave me his diary. It described in English what he'd seen out at sea. He had thus spared his wife. Now I wish he'd spared me from the tale of his sighting. Strange geometry. They found an old city, came up from the depths, but where they could not know. I knew it was Relier. The mad tail Johansson got madder again when exploring the city with Emma's men. Through a stinking miasma staircase they ran, with its steps not designed for a regular man. Still the crew clambered skyward to find souvenirs, but no trinkets worth taking in that place appeared. So they climbed ever higher through abnormal angles. They had twisted their thinking in two metal tangles. At the top of their climb, they found a great door that was not for certain in the wall or the floor. At a sailor's light touch, the great portal swung wide, and a tremendous shadow leaked out from inside. When a nasty wet slopping oozed up from below, they experienced something man's not meant to know. Two men died where they stood, as their minds simply broke. 'Twas a merciful fate when Cthulhu awoke. As Cthulhu had paused, but they knew not for what, so Johansson and Bryden got back to the yacht. That the boiler was boiling had pleased them indeed, but with limited steam they would sail at half speed. Bryden saw great Cthulhu slide into the foam. This had broken his mind, and he did not get home. Though Johansson planned to make more steam than flee, it was clear that Cthulhu would catch them at sea. And so brave Johansson turned the alert right around until towards Cthulhu the vessel was bound. On Cthulhu's great head it appeared they would ground, but the bow pierced his brow with a horrible sound. So Cthulhu's great head the alert then had plowed, thus releasing an acrid and stinking green cloud. When Johansson looked back, the foul thing was reforming, but the alert steamed away with engines now performing. Then the sailor had drifted till vigilant called. His adventure there ended. For now, that was all. The ship Vigilant sailed past where Relier should be, but the city had sunk back beneath the deep sea, and I guess that Cthulhu lies waiting there still, his existence maintained by the strength of his will. For Johansson, death ended his mad misery, and I know just like Angel, it'll soon come for me. I've discovered too much of what man should not know, and the cultists are out there, somewhere, spreading woe. I've uncovered the truth of the strange bas relief, and Johansson's account of things beyond belief. Now I'm packing up all these things in a box, a small box that was Angel's, that closes and locks. If you value your lives, you will leave it all there. And with all of my papers, please exercise care. All these terrible truths, I now beg you, don't share. For with these cosmic horrors, our psyches cannot bear.